Hey folks, what's up? It's DevOps Rob here. And today we're going to be looking at the PS5 control pad after a week's usage. And we're going to be comparing it to the Scuf Gaming Infinity Pro control pad. Now, before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you're interested in gaming content, if you're interested in any kind of software content or anything to do with HashiCorp, I've got you covered. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. I really appreciate all the comments and engagement and support. And with that said, let's get right into it. Now, before we get to the PS5 control pad, let's talk a little bit about the Scuf Gaming Infinity Pro control pad. Right. So I have this here, and I've had this, I'd say for the best part of 6 months, so it's not the oldest pad. So let's talk about some of the things about this pad that I really like. So I think the first thing that I like is the back buttons that we have here. It doubles up with the buttons that you have on the front, but the good thing about it is it means I have less distance to travel to press a button. I can literally just squeeze the control pad and the button is pressed, right? So that's the first thing I like about it. The second thing I like about it is the optional thumbsticks, right? So as you can see at the moment, I have on my Scuf Gaming control pad the same type of thumbsticks as you get in the original PS4 control pad, right? But I also have the option of the concave version, which instead of sticking out like this, it dips in a little bit, which some people prefer because they feel like they get more grip with their thumb. Personally, I'm quite happy with these, right? The next thing that I'll point out here is I really like the trigger buttons here, right? They're nice and lightweight. I can't actually remember the edition I picked when I was designing this pad here, so I'll look it up and I'll leave that in the comments below. But in terms of my whole firing speed, it makes my firing really, really quick, which I love. And the other thing I'll mention is this military grade grip that we have at the back here. You know, once I have this in my hand, it's never going anywhere, right? Even if I try and pull it out of my hand, I have to apply some force before it will come out, right? The grip is just really, really nice, you know. And all in all, I've grown to love this control pad. So moving on from the Scuf Infinity Pro control pad, we come to the PS5 control pad, which I've been using for a little over a week now, maybe like 8 days or something like that, right? Now, my first fears of this control pad is, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna like it. And the reason for that is I watched the NKBHD unboxing of the PS5. And he made a comment that he prefers the Xbox control pad to the PlayStation control pad because they're a bit bigger. So he was quite happy with this because this is bigger than we normally expect from PlayStation. So, you know, I personally don't really like the size of the Xbox control pad. I really like the size of the PlayStation 4 control pad. So I was a bit concerned that I wasn't gonna like the feeling of this. But it was a pleasant surprise when it turned up. It is bigger than the PS4 control pad. You know, if I just kind of hold the two together, they're about the same form factor in terms of height, but in terms of the handle, it feels a little bit more chunkier, right? But it's not humongous, so I can live with that. The next thing that caught me by surprise is I didn't realize until I started playing the game that it has a built-in speaker and microphone on it, right? Which to me is a really nice touch. You know, I was playing the game and all of a sudden the party chat just popped up and I didn't have any headphones in. I was thinking, where on earth is that coming from? Turns out it's coming from the control pad, right? Now, in terms of the speaker quality, it's okay. You know, you're not gonna get Bose kind of sound quality or Dre Beats kind of sound quality coming out of this. It's enough for you to hear the basics of what's going on. But you know, if you have a quite noisy room, then that would drown out the sound quite easily. And also if your TV is on, and obviously you've got the PlayStation sounds coming from that, it can be quite hard to hear from that. But nonetheless, it's a nice surprise. It was a nice touch in my opinion. The next thing is the microphone. Now, I don't believe the microphone is of the greatest quality, which again, you can't expect much from the control pad. But I have had instances where I've been in a party chat and I hear, "Yo, Rob, you sound mad, you know, we can't really hear you properly." So, you know, that goes to show that the mic isn't great. you know, I could pretty much say hello, I'll be right there, and people will probably get the gist of that conversation. But if I'm gonna start getting into playing games and saying, oh look, we've got an enemy over there on the top floor or something like that, you know, it's not reliable in a gaming situation. So definitely don't recommend using that for your gaming scenarios there. The thing that I didn't like about it though is you have a mute button for your microphone here in the middle, which for me is quite nice. But I feel like when you start the PlayStation up, by default, the microphone should be on mute, just for privacy reasons, right? When you want to unmute it, then you can unmute it. If you don't like that type of behavior, then you should be able to go into the system and change those settings. As of now, I haven't been able to find any settings where when the PlayStation starts up, by default, the control pad microphone will be in mute, right? So I think Sony might have missed a bit of a trick there, but hey ho. Let's talk about the back buttons, right? Or the trigger buttons, shall I call them. Now, I really like this. It caught me by surprise. So, you know, just like any other PlayStation button, you kind of press the back button, it feels normal, you squeeze it, it's fine, right? As soon as you get into game mode, especially with me, I play a lot of first-person shooters, mainly Call of Duty. The moment you get into battle mode and you start to pull that back, what you start to do is get a resistance to a certain point, and then it stops, and then you have to squeeze past that point, as if you were pulling the trigger of a real gun. So what they've now done is they've taken the feeling of the real world, so squeezing the trigger of an actual gun, and they've placed this into the control pad, right? So you get to these moments where you think an enemy's popping around the corner. So what you can do is you can squeeze it to the point where you start to get that resistance, and you just hold it there. It just gives you that split second. So the moment you see the enemy, you just squeeze the pad and the bullets will start ripping, which I really like that. What I don't like about the pad is, for some reason, it's too easy for me to press the R3 and the L3 buttons when I don't intend to press them, right? I never had this problem with the Scuf Gaming pad. You know, if I press down on that, then it would do whatever down button does on that. But on this one here, I'd seem to press it a lot when I don't intend to press it. You know, in terms of my KD on Call of Duty, it's not really done it any favors, because there's times when I have the drop on an enemy, and as I go to squeeze the trigger, because that's what it is, it encourages you to squeeze because of the way that the trigger buttons feel. You end up squeezing the whole pad, including that button there. And instead of pulling off a round, then it will, you know, try and melee someone. So that's something I'm not really a big fan of. But anyway, maybe it's gonna take some getting used to. So with that, let's maybe take some guess as to what a Scuf gaming control pad for the PS5 may look like, right? Now, I should say before we get into that Scuf have outright said in a statement that this control pad is not compatible with the PS5. I mean, I tried it and I couldn't get it working, right? The only compatibility they have with this is they say you can play PS4 games on the PS5 which are backwards compatible, and for those games this will work, right? Again, I haven't really tried that. I've just gone full in. I've only had it for a week, so full in with the PS5 game, right? So with that said, I think the type of things that we could expect from Scuf Gaming for a PS5 control pad, I think definitely better grip than what we have on the PlayStation original one. I'd expect them to mimic something like this military grade grip here, which to me is absolutely fantastic. I also think that maybe they're going to do something with the thumbsticks like we have with the Scuf one here. That would be really nice. I do think they'll just basically mimic a lot of the features of what we have on this PS5 control pad. So we're talking about the mic, we're talking about the speaker, and even things like the way that the trigger buttons feel. I think they're going to mimic these things here. But what I'm hoping that they're going to do is introduce the back buttons, but maybe just make the handles, if you like, on the control pad a bit more ergonomically satisfying for people who are coming from the Infinity Pro control pad. Because for me, this could be a bit nicer, and I think Scuf have the ability to do a really nice job with this. So at the moment, Scuf Gaming are saying they have no announcements to make about any PS5 control pads. However, they do have a mailing list, so if you go to their website and search for PS5, you will be able to add yourself to that mailing list, so you will be amongst the first people to know when they do have a product announcement. And with that, I'm going to draw the line here. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've liked it. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and share it amongst your friends. And until then, I'll catch you on the next one.